poll?
Yeah. Doing it right now, actually. I got some extra here. So our poll this morning. Do you think the answer to the issue of violence and crime in Rose Hill is the TTPS and the interagency task force patrols? That was our poll. 8 people said yes. 10 people said no.
That's just dealing with the symptom.
Of course.
That's all that is dealing with the symptom.
Band-aid
if you can't apprehend the gang members and keep them off the streets, all you have to, you'll put. So if you have a shooting around Rima school, God forbid tomorrow, or should go to school or something in the school, you put the interagency task force and the TT Defense Force to patrol too.
Exactly.
Come on, you're dealing with the symptom. It's more theatrics than anything else. You're dealing with the symptom. It may be a short-term measure, but it can't be the real solution to the issue. The real solution to the issue is getting the gangs off the streets, which you seem very incapable of doing from what I can see. What are you going to do? That's the life. We see we have to just accept it as this is what it is.
Yep. All right, let's get Dorothy in.
Recording in progress.
Thank you, Dorothy. It's been a while. I haven't told you good morning. A long time, Dorothy. Let's welcome the Tutors President, Martin Lumpkin. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. I am blessed. By the weather as well, too. I am blessed. Thank you very much for having me on the program.
Good morning, Mr. Lumpkin. How are you? Everything is all right. I'm good to hear that.
Good morning.
I guess your teachers and students are heading off to school in what is quite inclement weather. So we wish them safe journeys to and from school.
Yes, I pray that they arrive safely, have a productive day, enjoyable day too. Schools are supposed to be enjoyable times for most of our children. So have an enjoyable day and safe return.
Well, I guess we could start by asking you a question this morning, Steve.
Yeah. So this morning we asked in our morning poll, and let me just pull it up here quickly because I changed it.
Sure.
We asked, this was our question, do you think the Joint Police Army Patrol around Rose Hill Primary is the answer to the issue? That was our poll. And so far we had 8 people saying yes and 10 saying no. What says you, Mr. Lumpkin?
Well, Tutor's position is that we are open to any solution. We take note of what is being put there, and we also take note that some of these solutions, and in this case, it's a short-term solution. We are glad that measures are being put in place to ensure that our children and teachers, administrators, and whoever travels the compound are safe in arriving, and during the course of the day, there's safety there, as well as when they are exiting. And so we welcome any measure, but we believe that this is short-term. There must be some sustained long-term solution to this situation.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that's my sentiment also, that it's given what has happened to precipitate the closure of the school and how the school reopens today. It's a short-term solution, but of course the long-term solution is getting the gangs off the street. What are your teachers telling you at the school in terms of them going back into the classroom, physical classroom for the school today at that location?
Well, let me say, Senator Richard, that on the onset, we have been in contact with our teachers through our staff representatives. I had conversation with the principal, Dr. Kwamana, and they are concerned about the safety. And I would imagine that you would understand the psychological effects that this would have had, this particular incident, but it's not an isolated incident. It has been happening for quite a while, and teachers have been reaching out Not to the point of tutor where their safety is threatened, such that we have to intervene, but they have been letting us know that this has been taking place. And our teachers want to be assured that they can deliver the curriculum in a safe environment, that they don't have to be ducking and covering all the time. And the sound of gunfire is a very frightening experience. I personally have not experienced it, but I can well imagine, and imagine the children as well too. It is becoming so widespread that some people have become hardened to it, and it's because they are accustomed. But I mean, that should not be the case in Sweet PNC.
You said that, of course, teachers have reported this. Unfortunately, as not the first time this has happened. Are there other schools that your teachers have reported hearing regular or semi-regular gunfire or gunfire on occasions?
The schools in the particular area, in the past, the distant past, we would have had like St. Barb. As you know, St. Philip was relocated as well too. And the areas generally in what we term hot and hot areas, they would give us feedback from time to time. They would hear, sometimes isolated, but sometimes constant. And we are very concerned about that because the last time I was on your program, I would have alluded to the fact that the school is an integral part of the community, the nucleus of activities, learning, not only curriculum, but other areas as well too. Some groups use the school for their activities. So we encourage that, the school be part of the community. And so, it is concerning when other schools are bombarded with this issue.
I don't know if you had a chance to speak to the specific teacher in question or the principal of the school, but what made the difference, if it had not been an uncommon occurrence, what made the difference this time around that the teacher saw it fit to take that sort of evasive action?
So I must point out and must commend the staff, including the administrator. Let me say on your that when I say staff, I mean we like to segregate and say principal and staff. The principal is a part of the staff. So please permit me when I use the term staff, I include administrators as well too. So the staff took the decision to have this drill whenever there is sound of conflict in the external environment. Generally, schools would have fire drills, evacuation drills for a number of natural disasters and other incidents. In this case, the school saw it fit, the staff saw it fit to have this drill. And so it was instituted and continues to be utilized whenever there's this threat of gunplay, because we know that bullets, they are stray bullets. Bullets they don't segregate and say, well, it's children, so I wouldn't go there. Whenever, and the type of weapons we have now, those high-powered weapons, even if it is 100, 200 meters away, and the stray bullet that will head towards the school, it can still penetrate and be destructive and as well cause serious injuries. So we must commend our teachers, our administrators, the staff, for instituting that drill, so in order to protect the persons in the classroom. We have not spoken directly to the affected teacher. We have been in contact with our staff rep, Mr. Herrera, who has been giving us updates and would have informed us of the level of concern of our teachers.
So is it that you're saying, just for clarity, that this drill would have been initiated before and it's just this time it was caught on the video? Or is it that there were drills before as precautionary measures, but this is the drill that was precipitated specifically by gunfire this time around?
it is a drill that was organized quite with quite a bit of care and attention, and the video would have shown the implementation of that drill. So I well imagine that it would have been utilized before, but in this instance, it would have been captured on video and circulated in the public domain.
So this is not the first time students or teachers, upon hearing gunfire in the areas, have had to initiate this drill at this or other schools.
Yes, and what we have been informed of that in the past, you would hear the gunfire in the distance. Over time, has become quite close to the school, such that the drill has to be implemented and whenever they hear it. So it is a matter of the drill having to be implemented.
Would you have information as to how often this has happened in the past?
No, I can't give an exact figure, but I know. And I point out as well too that 21st of October, there was an incident of killing not too far from the school, such that it happened when the infants were being dismissed. And it was as a result of violence. So there are instances recorded as well too, where gunfire and killings have taken place not too far from.
How, what you paint a really frightening scenario. Because I mean, you know, when I asked the question in the context that, you know, people say it's happened before, and the Minister of National Security said they're unaccustomed, but for students and staff to get accustomed, that is unthinkable, untenable, quite frankly. How do teachers feel going back into this scenario today?
They're very concerned. My understanding, and Senator Richard, at this point, please permit me to say that tutor, only the staff representative, because by virtue of being a member of staff, was included in the discussion. The national tutor, none of my executive members, neither any of our industrial relations officers, neither any district officials were invited to that meeting. We are talking about tutors, members involved here. And by virtue of being the recognized majority union by law, we are supposed, we are to be at those meetings. So that being said, the feedback I am getting is that teachers, yes, welcome whatever intervention, and I understand, so I am just reporting. I cannot say first-hand information. I am just reporting that psychological assistance are being rendered at today, and that the delivery of the curriculum will be minimized while they do the psychological assistance. So the students would have intervention from student support services, the teachers from EAP, elders and associates, but that has happened before. We are concerned about sustained psychological assistance, and we are concerned about the sustained intervention when it comes to this issue, and the intervention of external agencies that can assist. So we're not only talking about patrols from Ministry of National Security, the police and defense force, but what about programs within the community that will address, violence and indiscipline, and even trying to capture our young ones before they are attracted to whatever elements out there, whether it be gangs or what we call the formal gangs or the informal gangs. We are concerned about this. Teachers are not equipped to deal with some of the situations that they face. And may I say as well too, some of our teachers are under stress, probably like the defense, well, not really defense, they have their stress, but the police service, because they are facing these gunfire and threats to their lives almost on a daily basis.
That's a lot to deal with. We wish them safety on their
Thank you. Yes.
journey to and from school and while at school also, because certainly it is interrupting learning, and no student, no staff member can really function optimally under these circumstances. No one can function optimally under these circumstances. If you hear a pen drop, you're on edge, and it certainly will affect
Yes.
your ability to
Yes.
deliver and absorb any information.
We had an instance years ago in Southeast Florida State, and you know that's in the heart of some of these empires, where a metal door slammed, and just the sound of that, the teacher and the students took cover, you know, and that after that incident, the teacher was almost in tears. What you're saying, Senator Richards, and I know you said it publicly, it is, and we need to address this, because to me, we are just putting plaster on sores. We're not getting to the root. I don't know if the persons in authority are willing to or have the willingness to do this. But this is the reality that some of our members, educators, face on almost a daily basis. And we cannot have proper learning in that sort of environment.
The other issue I want to talk about this morning is no doubt you've seen the video of students at Tranquility Government Secondary School fighting. One of the persons, I think the daughter of the President, Ina Robertson, was caught in the melee and thrown to the ground. And this issue of student indiscipline and student fighting, and what tutors' thoughts are, and I know the default response is, well, student support services is providing remediation services for emotional behavioral disorders, and we are seeking to counsel students involved, etc. But quite frankly, a lot of it is not working. Your thoughts?
And I want to echo your sentiment to a point where I would say that it is not working because Student Support Services Division generally is understaffed, and we cannot have meaningful intervention. We have guidance officers provide the services of counseling, but I would want us to review that and to have better. Let me retract that. Sorry. We have qualified persons in the area of psychological counseling, also involved as well too, because we are seeing that it is working to a point, and then what is happening is that we're going back to the same habits, and there are other factors as well too. The household or the homes that some of these children come from, we have to really look and evaluate. They can come to school, we can try to counsel as far as possible through the ministry officials, and then when they return home, they return to the same environment to which they originated, and they go back to the habits of what they learned at home. Tutor is calling for deep intervention as well too in this area. And you realize, Senator Richards, that the school being a microcosm of the community and the environment, that we are getting the incidents and the violence in the school as a result of what is taking place in the country as a whole. And we are very concerned about it. Teachers are trying their utmost best within the resources that they have, within the skills that they have, in order to try to intervene, because no teacher that I know of, no good teacher would, his or her soul, would sit in the classroom and allow indiscipline to take place. They're going to try to intervene, but they can only do so much. And so the incident in Tranquility is as a result of having not intervened, because tutor in the past would have flagged that school and a number of schools to the ministry officials, and we have been calling for intervention, deep intervention, looking at short-term safety officers, security officers, and so. But in the long term, having the ministry intervene with assisting the administrators And I want to say again, our teachers have been trying their utmost best in tranquility, and they have said that tranquility is a time bomb we think to explode. And we would have seen it wasn't one fight from what I saw in the video. There was two fights.
But I mean, not to target tranquility, but we've been hearing about tranquility and the issues in tranquility for a long while. And it doesn't seem, and I really don't want to target tranquility as a particular school because it's not the only school experiencing these challenges. But I mean, do you get a sense from the membership or your teachers that anything is being done that is sustainable?
No, we are not. From the feedback we've gotten from our staff representatives, there have been attempts, but the solutions that were suggested were short-term, and that sometimes it didn't work, and there was nothing tried that would replace what was given. And as you said, it has been quite a while that we've had situations in that particular school, but in other schools as well.
My understanding is that female teachers in particular face the brunt of what I can only describe as abuse from some students.
Because we have the majority of female, and it's quite unfortunate that that is taking place, and we have to do some deeper investigation as to why. But
as you said, we all know it's not rocket science anymore. Students who are behaving truant behavior and emotional behavioral problems have issues more than likely in the home. So if you are dealing with it in the school and not going to the home to find out what the root of the problem is, the student is going back into the environment that's reinforcing the behavior, and it's only going to continue. This is not rocket science anymore. It is accepted protocol all over the world. We just seem unwilling or incapable of getting the resources to get to the root of the problem.
Yes, thank you, Senator Richard. And this issue and the surrounding issues need to be tackled head on. We need to have persons who are willing to stand up, raise their hand, and say, enough is enough. Let us tackle this head on. Let us find viable solutions. But it will take not only within the school. This is a big issue throughout Trinidad and Tobago. We can get into the discussion of crime and so on, and the root of it. But
you are the recently elected president of Tutor. Has the Education Ministry called you for even a courtesy meeting to establish a rapport?
At this point, no. I must say other institutions have reached out, but not the Ministry of Education. I am only speculating that they are waiting on our statutory permanent secretary meeting, monthly meeting, to do that. I will say this though, I am not going to wait. This is 1 week, pardon me, this is 1 week into my my tenure, as well as my fellow national officers, and we are going to reach out. We're not going to wait. So there are some institutions that I plan to send correspondence, but this last week, Senator Richard, I really must say, it has been very interesting, but very, the schedule has been quite compact. We had 2 appearances before the industrial court. We have had meetings internally and externally, but I do plan to reach out to some of these institutions.
Well, the other issue that I guess you'd have to be talking about the Education Ministry regarding is how the ministry is going to start dealing with the learning loss that has been discussed nationally. There was an initiative during the July-August vacation that to me failed for several different reasons. One, the attendance was very low, and the attendance was low for several different reasons that weren't properly considered by the ministry. And in addition to those which were the forms, the standard 5 going to form 1, we have the other standards and forms that need to be remediated. Commendably, the government has allocated $50 million, but from what you're telling me, you've not even had a chance to sit with the ministry or invited by the ministry to see how you can collaborate on how this can be achieved in terms of that remediation. Or am I wrong?
At this point, sorry, within my tenure, we have not. My understanding in the past, we would have had some discussions on it, but not to the point where we can have meaningful suggestions, solutions going forward. sorry, please, pardon. So that, yes, we need to, especially that issue of learning loss. Teachers have taken it upon themselves to, at the start of this term, to go back, well, do the evaluation first, because they have to know where the students are at. And they taught from that point moving forward, which meant part of the term was dedicated to reteaching and to remediation as well as reinforcement before they go forward. So in that context, teachers have been trying their best in terms of trying to bridge that gap. That gap, when you realize and you do the investigation, it is greater than what was expected to be found when we came back out into the physical space and to use that physical mode of teaching. And so we are hopeful. Teachers are always hopeful. We are always reaching out to the ministry. As I said to another media house, we are not about opposing and to be rabble-rousing. We want what is best for all stakeholders in education, especially our children. And hence the reason we look for what is best for our teachers as well. And so we look forward to, as you said, what was the results, what are the facts, what are the statistics and so that you have from that remedial workshop that was done during the vacation, because we ourselves had some concerns about it, and as you said, attendance was one. But in terms of the other areas. So we look forward to that. There was the review of the SCA and there's a task force. We look forward to the results of that task force as well too. So there are a number of areas that we are...
But semester one is more than halfway through already. Semester one just has about 5 or 6 more weeks to go, you know.
Yes, it does. And so teachers now are moving at pace in terms of the curriculum that they have to cover for this term.
So we're going to another assessment period, and we have not heard what the overall national protocol is, which is very disturbing to me. And I will leave it at that. You'd have to comment. Any closing comments, Mr. Lumpkin?
First of all, thank you for the opportunity once again to be on your program. And secondly, I wish all our members, all our educators, continued safe term as we go into the Yuletide season and coming down to the end of the academic year. And I just want to assure all involved, all institution stakeholders, that tutor is there, stands ready and willing to assist and to have dialogue in order to move not only education system forward, but Trinidad and Tobago forward. We stand ready and we stand willing.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time and you being with us this morning.
You're welcome, Senator Richards, and to the other hosts. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Recording stopped.
Martin Lumpkin for being with us. New elected president of Tutor.
Yeah. The semester is almost, a little over halfway through already.
Yeah.
Exams will start in about 3 weeks. Assessments, that is. And no word about what the remedial protocols are yet.
Yeah.
I guess we start in January and then be interrupted by Carnival and start and go again.
Exactly. I did try to get on to the Minister of Education. That's all I'll say. You said it, so I don't need to say anymore.
I'm not going to be here and she might acquiesce.
I don't know why she's ducking. Normally doesn't duck
or ducking me.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's you.
Oh, yes, I think it's me.
I think it is the entire situation where...
I think it's me.
Why you think so, Paul? Enlighten us.
7:46, 14 before. 8, the numbers are 222, 612, Talk, 812 Talk. Toll free, 1099.
You're right, you know. You don't want to say why she's ducking you. I thought it was me. I was getting a complex. I did try yesterday. I just tried a while ago. I did get on to the acting commissioner of police, but he's in a meeting and he graciously answered my call. But he said he's unable at this time. Maybe tomorrow. So I said, all right, we'll chat, we'll WhatsApp and so on. He's preparing for a meeting that starts around now. So yeah. All right. So 222-8255, 612-8255, toll free North Americans, 866-525-1099. I know North American listeners, especially in the US, will be heading out to vote. The voting booths would open in 12 minutes at 7 o'clock. 7 to 7. All right, so we'll take a couple of your calls at this time. Of course, you can still vote on our morning poll where we asked you, and of course, it's going to stay up until tomorrow morning. Do you think the answer to the issue of violence and crime in Rose Hill is the TTPS Interagency Task Force's patrol? Right?
Well, Mr. Lumpkin did say that it's not the first time this has happened. This first time has been captured on video, which is even more disturbing.
Yes.
That it's not only in this area, it is several of the so-called hotspot areas, which should surprise no one. But again, as we said earlier this morning, is it that you're going to put these kinds of intensified patrols in those areas? Or is it that you're going to catch the gang members and criminals? Or do both.
Yeah, or do both.
You know, this is dealing with the symptom. The issue is gangs on the streets. That's the issue. Gangs and guns on the streets. That is the issue. So students, imagine students are accustomed, 7 and 8 year olds are accustomed to gunfire. Imagine that. They are accustomed to hearing packs while in the classroom. How you could live under those conditions? How? Tell me. Explain to me how you can sit down and go through your language arts or your mathematics or arithmetic under those conditions, hearing gunshots in the not too distant areas.
Yeah.
That is normal? Or that should become normalized?
Yeah.
Look.
Let's grab a couple of calls. I've come in through. Good morning.
Good morning to the Power family. Good morning to the Power Breakfast crew there.
Morning behind JFK.
No, this is not behind JFK. This is amusement in Queens. How you guys doing
Queens.
this morning?
Well, not too. All right. Good morning. Somewhere around JFK.
Not too far from JFK. I could tell JFK in less than 3 minutes. Right.
There you go.
But here's what I had to say. I had two things to task in on. Right. Voting today is very important to get out and vote. Okay, because in America, they had to fight for their rights to get out to go and vote. Okay, so it's good to exercise your rights and just go and do the right thing and vote. It's not about the party. It's not about the people. It's just about going out and exercising your right. Because I went and voted for the first time when I was 18, and that was a beautiful thing to go and do. And right now, I'm in my 50s, and I still get up no matter what election. And I'm at the poll by 6 a.m. and go and vote. In regards to what happened in the school with the kids brawling, you know, in New York City and in certain states in the United States, we have cameras and everything. We have school safety officers. And every one of those students that was caught on camera brawling would have been suspended. Parents would have been brought up because you saw video contents, even though it was blurred when it was showed on the news, and it identifies a lot of students that's involved in it. Here, I'm telling you, here in New York City, they don't go for that. One students, whether they were participating physically, or even cheering on or whatsoever, each and every one of those students, their parents brought to the school, one by one, in the auditorium or wherever they would hold it, I noticed these kids. Now, the funniest thing, certain things that happen here when you put it, you either put them into
Queens,
another
we
school.
losing you a little bit there.
You can hear me now? I'm sorry?
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up a bit, but go ahead.
Okay. Put that in the U.S. If you had to suspend a kid, you don't normally take the kid out of curriculum. You have choices. The kid will go on to online classes at home, or they transfer the kid to another school for the period of time for the length of the suspension. Okay? And to me, it's very important that they need to show some type of discipline, which the education department need to show some type of discipline to these kids to show them, hey, this kind of behavior and other things cannot be tolerated and to continue. Because with no reaction coming from the Department of Education or the government regarding the school board, this is going to continue on and on and on. Anyway, everybody, stay safe. Have a good one.
All right, Queens, thank you so much. All the best there. All right, so we're taking a couple of calls. We head up towards our news brief at 8. All courtesy Chamflair Auto Services. 222-8255, 612-8255. Toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099. All right. Derek in Queens. Imagine our listeners. Miss Ingrid is telling me your name is Derek, not behind JFK.
But he's right. Students need to realize there's a consequence to being involved in that.
Yeah.
How many of them have been identified and pulled into the office and the parents and or suspended or transferred? No, they feel what they could do it and get away with it. So guess what? They're back in class normal.
Mm-hmm. Like normal. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
We go about it the next day and we'll pick a fight on the next day.
Yep.
You know, nothing will happen.
And get famous by going viral.
Yeah, and that's half of it right there, you know, to be famous.
Yeah, but they have to be, has to be consequences.
Every action must be exactly
to these types of activities.
I really
Has to be.
Parents need to be accounted for. They need to do that.
So we're taking your call. We have a couple minutes before the 8 o'clock news.
Yeah. All right. As I said, AV is coming up. Sir Charles is on at 9 o'clock. Treasure Tuesdays, I believe today is, on this rainy Tuesday morning. It's been, and I'm getting more video of St. Lucia. St. Kitts, it's been raining since Friday. It has not stopped. Imagine if that happened here. Oh, geez, on eaches.
Yeah, there's the end of us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just wanted to comment on the contribution of the new president of Tutor.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to say how absolutely refreshing it is to hear a responsible, sober president who actually considers one of the major stakeholders in the education sector, the children. So kudos to him, and I look forward to great things under his leadership. Thank you.
Are you a teacher? She went before.
He's non-combative. I think that's the real thing.
Yeah, he's exactly. He's quite calm.
Well, that's where you have to be. You can't be combative and antagonistic, because you, at the end of the day, what purpose are you going to serve?
Exactly. All right, so let's take your calls. 222-8255, 612-8255. Okay, Ms. Ingrid, thank you. North Americans, 866-525-1099. Nina, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Great show.
Thank you.
It is alleged that the tutor president admonished or advised his teachers not to get involved in fights, in terms of part in fights. And he is absolutely right. because sometimes you try to part fights and you do not know your strength, you may damage a child, or you yourself may get damaged in the process. And that may lead to all kind of legal implications, including possible female students reporting you for something that you may not have done in the process of trying to part a fight.
Yep. That's why it's about school security
People
for.
just have to be careful about how they intervene in fights and so on.
I fully agree with that. They might push you down. You might become part of the fight too. That's why they have school security and school monitors for. But look what happened to Margaret Robinson yesterday, or whenever that fight in Tranquility took place.
So it was Friday.
I ain't getting involved in part of no fight. Sorry. Most people I see get stabbed up and hurt trying to part fight. Not me.
Good morning, caller. Good morning. Hello. Going once, twice.
You still going once and twice? Okay.
Yeah, I like to do my 3 times a lady kind of thing.
You're not part of no fight. Sorry.
No, I'm not part of no fight either.
Not in school, out of school, nowhere.
Nowhere. I ain't part of no fight. As you said, I'll be the innocent one and something will happen.
That ain't my work.
All right. Yeah, so let's take some of your calls. Yes, Miss Ingrid. Well done, Miss Ingrid. Your 30K check will be in the mail. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, hi. Just
Morning.
wanted to make a comment
Uh-huh.
about the children fighting and misbehaving. Antisocial behavior has been glorified for decades in the music and the carnival of Trinidad. So when the children take it to heart, we only have ourselves to blame, you know. We've been told mash up the place, break up the place, you know, that kind of language that people in Trinidad have been using for years and years and years, particularly in the carnival music or at carnival time. While it is fun for adults, it does not necessarily have the best influence on children. And I think we need to think about what we put out on the airwaves. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. We have a couple of seconds again before we head to our 8 o'clock news with Avi. All right. As she makes her way into the studio with our news brief, let's get into it right now. It's exactly 8 o'clock on this, the 8th day of November. Moving fast, boy. All right. All powered by Sean.